what makes the Bible valuable for a person's personal life? Like, why should someone bother with the Bible?
Well, I think there's a lot of answers to that, and one of them would be simply anybody who reads the Bible and believes in the Bible sees it as being in one way or another God's word. So it's God speaking to us. Now, some people see that very literally, everything in there. There's some, God, they're the commands, so to speak. And then on a more personal level, there are many who emphasize personal relationship with God or learning from what's in the Bible to help people in their own lives. I think that's the basic thing. It helps people. And
Okay.
I do think too, I mean, it wouldn't be that popular if it wasn't helping people.
Right.
I tell my students at Bernathen College, if 5 billion people, which is more than anything else in New York Times type terms, bestsellers, if 5 billion books have been published, and just think how many more Bibles have been, like one Bible in a home, read to so many people and this and that throughout the centuries. If that many people are being interested in it, but more than that, affected by it in such a way that they passed it down through generations and generations. Even if you weren't interested in it for the sake of like, who is this God or whatever, wouldn't you want to open it up and take a look?
Right.
Because it's had such a profound effect on individuals and collective whole of the human race.
Right. So just from a secular standpoint, the Bible is this work of history that has shaped and given form to our culture, our society, everything that you see around us. It sort of has almost a biblical framework, even if we don't necessarily know it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it's kind of thing like if how do you go decide what kind of movie to see? Now, people do it differently, but I think for a lot of young people, when I ask that question, it's obvious that, well, if their friends say it's a good movie, they'll go see it, or you hear the buzz. There's a buzz about it, and so I think the same with the Bible over the years. There's been a buzz about it. What is it that if everybody's looking at this thing or telling you it's great or it's changing their lives, you might want to take a look.
Right.
And anyway, get back to the idea that it's because it helps people. I think that's true on so many levels of how it helps. We talked about just the ideas that are in it to help us to lead a good life, but also in a deeper level, I think people who read the Bible are genuinely affected within, deeply affected within, maybe with peace or a sense of being connected, to God or some kind of higher power, or
Right.
just gather a greater understanding of life, even if they're not reading anything that says, hey, listen, by the way, that money problem you have, here's how you're going to solve it. They may have the money problem, but they read the Bible and hear something about trusting in God and the way will be open, and whatever that issue is, there tends to be some kind of sense of relief, comfort, and hope.
Now let's talk a little bit about how that works, because you talked a little bit about how people can see the Bible differently. Some people take it very literally. Other people might take it more figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
How does someone read the Bible? If someone's going to open it up for the first time, or maybe they haven't read it in a decade, or maybe they're taking a look because they saw this
Mm-hmm.
video, what approach should they take? Because there's a lot in there, and to be frank, some of it does not make sense,
Right. Well, that's a
at least
big,
at first glance.
again, I could go all over the place with what you just asked me. First off, let's talk about that idea. Can the Bible be taken literally or completely literally?
Right.
And I think, I mean, a lot of people would say no. There are some that say, no, it's my Bible, everything in that's true. And, if that's that opinion, okay, you're welcome to have that opinion. But there's a lot of stories in there or things that happen. You say, well, how is that literal? Like the sun and the moon and the stars aren't created until the third or fourth day. And is it the fifth day? Anyway,
Right.
But but light, let there be light, is created on the first day. So what is this light? It begs the question. It's got to be something a little bit deeper. But there's so many different places where that kind of thing happens. Joshua is fighting this enemy with Israel, and it says that the sun stood still over the valley of Ajalon. What do you mean? I mean, through the night, the sun was there. Can't happen. Has to be something deeper
Right.
than that. But even on a moral level, or whatever you want to call it, like Jesus says things like, if your right eye offends you, pluck it out, or if your right arm offends you, cut it off. I mean, obviously he's speaking. He wants to take us deeper than that. I think the one where we can really see that, very much is when Jesus talks about all the people were following him. He's got this crowd. And all of a sudden he says, okay, now listen, I want you to know something. Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will have no life in you. And, talk about shock jock. I mean, what happened there? He said that, and it says everybody left.
Right. The crowd's like,
They're like, oh
nope,
my
I'm out.
gosh. I mean, what is this?
Right.
Eat his flesh and drink his blood. His disciples were still there. Now, they had been with him long enough, I think, to know they were often missed the point, but I think long enough to at least know this has got something deeper to it. I'm not going to simply just, and they were, they said, where would we go? You have the words of eternal life.
Right.
Recognizing that. But I do think in that regard, we look back now and we see, after he introduced the Holy Supper, the Passover, he turns it into take this bread, this is my body, eat this to remember me, or the blood of the new covenant. Right there, he's making it a symbol of something inside of himself and his relationship with us that they didn't know about when he first brought this up about the flesh and the blood. I believe what he was doing is almost shocking you. I think a lot of the Bible's like, I'm going to shock you. Of course, this isn't literal.
Right.
And some people, if they want to go, well, then I'm going to walk away. Fine. But I think a lot of people who care and want to know are going to go, well, what does that mean? And go deeper with it. So that's the answer to the literal. Not everything in the Bible can be taken literally. Now, I think that there is plain truths there that are very clear. Swedenborg calls them the hands and the face of the Bible. You can see them. They're all the teachings that we need to know about how to live a good life and get to heaven. Or enough of them are revealed that anybody can read the Bible and get them. But there are deeper secrets in the Bible and special truths that are hidden in there, and they'll become evident to you if you love it and want to learn more, but not if you don't.
So it seems obvious that there are stories that the Bible tells that are not literal, but then there are other things, like you said, that are clear and we are supposed to take literally. What's our guiding principle? Like, how do we know when we're opening the Bible up what to take literally and what not? Like, obviously, the sun can't stand still or the earth would be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, light can't be created before the sun and the moon and the stars. That just doesn't make sense. And Jesus clearly said or gave us a different meaning to eating flesh and drinking blood.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we know when looking at the Bible what truths to take as true? What teachings to say, oh, this is literally true, so that we have a framework to understand some of these other stories?
Well, it's interesting because part of that is undefined. I mean, we have a choice of how we want to look at it, and I think that makes some religious people very nervous. A choice. It says what it says, and if you're going to start interpreting it, then you're going to end up interpreting it a selfish way, and you're going to end up going to hell and all that kind of thing. However, I think that obviously you interpret everything according to what's going on inside your heart and what touches you within. So I really would say how is it touching you? I think also that there's common sense or something that we all sense inside about what is true. I think even an atheist, which I've spoken to many, they'll tell you just about anyone else, right? You don't kill, you shouldn't steal. These things that are in the 10 Commandments, those kind of things. Even like idols, maybe it doesn't mean necessarily, statues in your house, but we shouldn't have other things that take us away or distract us from being good people in some sense or another. At the same time, I think it's one thing I also teach is that you need to make up your mind. It's about you. I mean, where it touches you. I think if you have an open mind and an open heart, which I'm including humility in there, you'll want to know, you'll be led by the Lord to know. Mm-hmm. And very practically speaking, those things that will lead you to a better life exist in all the religions. Right. I mean, everybody has a golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you, in one way or another throughout all the major religions. Loving your neighbor, being a useful citizen, that something's happening after life that's going to hold you into some kind of accountability. Most religions believe that there is a God or higher power in some sense or another, a deity that we we worship, that we want to learn from, that we want to become one with in some sense or another. Go through the whole list. There's so much that we have in common. So if you find yourself reading the Bible and come up with something like, oh, this is what I believe, one way to check it out is, does anybody else believe this?
Right.
Because that's where, if major religions aren't teaching this, there's a real good chance you're off track.
Yeah, I like that basic principle. Like, if you're interpreting the Bible and it somehow conflicts with obvious truths,
Yeah.
that's a bad sign. Like, if you're reading the Bible and you're like, oh, well, in that case, it's okay to murder people. You're wrong.
You might have missed the point.
Right. Or one way I like to think about it is, yes, the Bible does have a deeper or higher secret meaning. And that secret meaning is love the neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big
Not too much of a
secret.
secret, but I mean,
Right.
It's deep within the Bible. Yeah.
Exactly.